Well, Beatle music is still very, very popular. You hear it all the time on the radio. But here in the Charlotte area, there's one band that has made it even more popular. They are the Spongetones. People follow them all over the Carolinas, and for very good reason. They play 60s music like nobody else. And tonight on PM Magazine, we're going to visit the Spongetones and see if they have what it takes to make it to the top.
For the Beatles, it was the Liverpool pubs. They polished their craft and earned their reputation in the bars of their hometown. For Charlotte's Spongetones, it could be the Double-Door Inn. The comparison is more logical than you might think. Like the Beatles, the Spongetones have earned their reputation in pop music. In fact, the Fab Four, as the Spongetones are called, are best known for their uncanny ability to reproduce the 60s sounds of groups like the Kinks, the Doors, the Who, and particularly the tunes of the Beatles.
We played Beatle music in other bands we'd had. I have, at least. I guess all the guys have. And it was like you'd stick them in because we were always the guys in the band that were the Beatle freaks.
Steve Stokel is the bass player for the Spongetones. Jamie Hoover plays guitar, as does Pat Walters, who also handles keyboards. These three share lead vocals, and Rob Thorne is drummer and percussionist for the band. What began 3 years ago as backroom jam sessions is fast evolving into full-time professional performing.
It was mainly for fun, with no idea of doing anything but just having a good time with it and playing occasionally and breaking the monotony of the other bands that we were playing in. It was refreshing, and it still is, but especially then, it was so different.
Out of necessity and convenience, each member has assumed a specific responsibility for the band. Steve maintains the amplifiers and leads the band on stage. Pat, who is a guitar technician, takes care of guitar repairs and keeps track of their expenses. Rob manages the band's bookings and promotions. And Jamie is in charge of record production. Jamie and his partner Mark Williams own OVO Productions Limited, the company which produced and engineered the Spongetones' first album. It is entitled Beat Music, and it has just been released for national distribution by Repeat Records. All of the songs on the album are original, written and composed by Pat, Steve, and Jamie. Billboard magazine commented in its review that, quote, the Spongetones sound a bit like the early Beatles. The same catchy sound, the same spare production, the same heartfelt, endearing sounds. It is timeless music, unquote. Beat Music is proof of the Spongetones' commitment to the music profession. They have studied the perils, pitfalls, and promises of the road to stardom. And they are serious in their determination to make the trip a successful one.
I think we formed a business sense about how we wanted to approach it as far as the marketing and the overall packaging of it.
We wanted to be able to, you know, it was like, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do this, and it got real hectic, and now we're trying to take control and make a direction.
Becoming serious about success means capitalizing on promotions. There are Spongetones t-shirts and Spongetones pins, and now the band has produced a rock video of the singles from their album. The songs are She Goes Out With Everybody and its flip side, Here I Go Again. Both are original compositions, but still have the feel of the 60s Beatles songs.
Where did you first come up with the idea of doing primarily 60s music?
This is what we're best at, and we love.
We do this because we want to.
Mm-hmm. It's not an artistic compromise. You know, people are giving us these knocks about, you know, it's not art, it's not original, and all this stuff, and it's what we love the most and what we do the best.
I think it's just the best thing that's happened in the last 20, 25 years. I just don't think anything else has been as good as the music of the Beatles or, you know, just the good 60s stuff.
And the audience loves it. Whether it's a one-night stand in a local bar or a performance in the Carowinds theme park, the Spongetones draw enthusiastic crowds of all ages.
It's very inspiring. I mean, it's like just flipping a switch and the band is just going automatically. You know, there's no stopping it.
It's feedback. You know, they get more excited, we get more excited, and you know, it just doesn't stop.
It's like you say, hey, I now understand why I've done this for all these years and starved, and you know, it makes it all worthwhile.
You all seem to get along very well, and you're very distinct, different personalities, easy to spot on the stage. Are you all faking it, or do you all get along pretty well?
For some bands, 3 years is a long time. If some bands make it, stay together that long. I mean, it's a long time for us. It doesn't seem like a long time.
there's something not only that happens on stage with the people, but between us, and that's nice. And that's why I guess we're still here after 3 years of doing this.
Still, the question remains. After 3 years, can the Spongetones continue to generate the spirit and energy necessary to take the band to the top?
The way we came up, we didn't immediately go out the first week and hit the road, so to speak. You know, everyone had their own jobs, and it wasn't anything we had to depend on, and we didn't learn to hate it.
We've been playing some of this stuff in this band for 3 years, a couple of nights a week, and still, it's just something that happens when you go into a Beatles song. It just grabs you.
It hasn't been real tough. It hasn't been real laborious. It's been real fun. We want to do all we possibly can with it. You know, it's the first time like I've ever felt that I could really, you know, maybe even grab success.
The Spongetones album is available throughout the United States and also, of course, right here in the Carolinas. But the best way to see this band is live. And they'll be here live on the WBTV stage, which will be right behind me tomorrow night between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So come on out. Speaking of Springfest, Moore and I will be right back to tell you more about it.